Tenestellan, greetings, my priceless human family, arise from personal fears, false expectations appearing real serious. Today, we the people urgently need to have a heart-to-heart open discussion on the sacred human rights covenant, the UDHR Charter. Back in 1948, after the global destruction of World War II, the United Nations said, "Enough is enough." They created the Universal Declaration of Human Rights Covenant, Sacred Agreement, which is like a giant international rulebook for how to treat people with inherent dignity, priceless value. It's got 30 articles like chapters in a book, and they all add up to one big collective idea. Everyone deserves to be treated equally and with respect, no matter what the circumstances. It says, everyone has the international human birthright to life, liberty, and personal security, food, clothing, shelter, access to credit, money, political power, and self-respect. Plus, everyone deserves a fair shot at a good humanitarian life as a human rights defender, no matter their race, religion, or where they're from on Earth. Sounds simple, right? Well, hold on to your hats because things are about to get interesting. Okay, imagine this. There's a secret Jesuit game of Monopoly going on in the modern world, and it's rigged with a vicar for-profit at the very top. It has a dual accounting practice under the geopolitical Jesuit system of neo-colonialism, global financial colonization. Basically, it means there are two sets of rules. One, UDHR Charter, for the rich and powerful, and one, bankrupt constitution, for everyone else. This debt-based Jesuit system allows corporations and wealthy individuals to avoid paying their employees a fair share in salaries, often by hiding money in offshore accounts or at the Vatican Central Bank. That's like having a secret stash of candy, debt money, and pretending you don't, even though everyone knows you're the debt money kingpin. Not trustworthy, right? This debt-based Jesuit system of neocolonialism is like a punch in the gut to human rights equity, fairness. When the wealthy dodge equal pay for equal work, it means less money for people to spend on schools, hospitals, and other essential services that everyone needs. So basically, this rigged Jesuit game is making it harder for regular people to have a decent life as a voluntary debtor citizen tax-paying victim. Let's discuss the certificates of live birth registration for a second. Sounds off-key, right? Wrong! That little piece of paper determines more than just your birthday. It determines your international political status in this Jesuit game of Monopoly. You see, when you're born, you're automatically assigned to one of two teams, sovereign individual or public servant. Sovereign individual status means you have inherent rights and fundamental political freedoms just by being born. You're a human rights defender of a nation, group of like-minded individuals, and you have a political say in how things are run in global commerce. But public servant status is different. It's like being treated as a debt slave, where your constitutional rights are granted and can be taken away by those Jesuit-taught politicians in power. This debt-based Jesuit system is used to control and exploit people of African descent globally. Guess which team gets stuck with the raw end of the deal? You got it, the public servant team. Remember Article 3 of the UDHR, the one about the international human birthright to life, liberty, and the diplomatic security of your human personality status in private humanitarian diplomacy? Well, this whole rigged system of neocolonialism is trampling all over that. When people are denied basic necessities like healthcare, free education, and even clean water because the wealthy are hoarding resources, that's a violation of their international human birthright to life. When they're trapped in artificially created poverty because of unfair economic systems, that's a violation of their international human birthright to liberty. And when governments in bankruptcy prioritize corporate interests over the well-being of their human populations, that's a violation of their international human birthright to diplomatic security. It's like being stuck in a dysfunctional game of Monopoly where the Jesuit rules are constantly changing and you're always losing in human rights ignorance. But hey, the good diplomatic news is, we the people can lawfully implement immediate change, choose humanity a neutral global economy, in our modern world of social democracy, political choices. Silence is golden? Not at all. Speak up against neo-colonialism. For too long, people have been told to stay silent about these economic injustices. They've been told to trust the Jesuit system and focus on themselves without criticizing government bankruptcy. But you know what? Silence only helps the Jesuit oppressors. When we stay silent, we're basically saying, go ahead, keep exploiting us with debt money, fool's gold, we don't mind. But when we speak up against neocolonialism, when we raise our voices in political unison, we become a sovereign force to be reckoned with at the UN Peace Treaty Organization. Peaceful protests, speaking out against economic injustice, and holding all Jesuit-taught politicians accountable for gross human rights violations, international felonies. These are the diplomatic tools we need to politically dismantle this rigged Jesuit system of neocolonialism, and establish a technologically advanced global resource-based digital economy as lawful human rights compensation. Knowing your human birthrights means fighting for everyone's human birthrights. Here's the thing about human birthrights. They're not just some abstract concept. They're the foundation of international law within the framework of a just and equitable global society today. When we understand our international human birthrights, we're not just empowered to fight for ourselves in private diplomacy, we're empowered to fight for everyone in collective security, all for one creator and one creator for all. It's like that old saying, a human rights injustice anywhere is a political threat to international justice everywhere. When we see someone being denied their international human birthright to life, it's our moral obligation to speak up in political equity, fairness. Whether it's our neighbor, someone across the country, or even someone on the other side of the world on the internet and cyberspace, we need to stand up and say no more voluntary compliance under neocolonialism. Human rights education is sovereign power. Learn the international rules to change the economic system of global commerce. One of the most powerful political weapons that we, the people, have in the fight for security and protection is a solid human rights education. When we educate ourselves and others about the UDHR covenant, the dual accounting system under neocolonialism, and the ways in which our international human birthrights are being violated today, we become a sovereign force for real international political change. Human rights knowledge becomes international political power over self. And the more we know, the better equipped we are to challenge the debt-based, geopolitical Jesuit status quo in human rights sovereignty, political free will. Time to team up against neocolonialism. We're all in this together. This will seem like a David versus Goliath situation, so remember, David took down Goliath with a sling and a stone. We have a political sling, Article 4, no slavery, from an international stone, UDHR law. So we have something even more powerful, human rights solidarity against Jesuit fraud. When we come together in political unity, when we support each other in human rights equity, and when we refuse to be divided under the Jesuit system of neocolonialism by the elite, we become unstoppable by the operation of international law complete. This isn't about left versus right or rich versus poor. This is about international human birthright versus Jesuit wrongs, good human rights law over evil debt slavery overall. This is about reclaiming our sovereign power in unity and creating a debt-free modern world where everyone has an equal opportunity to manifest their highest human rights potential freely. Let's fix this thing, humanity over debt money. It's time to rewrite the rules of the game as a lawful human rights remedy. It's time to dismantle the Jesuit systems of political oppression that keep so many people trapped in artificially created poverty and economic despair. It's time to put humanity over worthless and inflationary profit, fool's gold, and to create a modern world of global commerce where everyone has the chance to live a dignified and fulfilling human life. The UDHR isn't just a document, it's a call to international political action as divine world law. It's a reminder that we all have a lawful human rights defender role to play in creating a more just and equitable modern world, after collectively eradicating neocolonialism. So let's get to work in orchestrating a massive human rights strike in 2025. Guidance and protection, my human family. If you need more information, please contact the Ethiopian Shiloh at kingdomofdebrazite2020@gmail.com in human rights solidarity. Salah.